It
The
spoke to me, and
Hannah,
it was great.
Hannah was just spectacular, and
Oh
Yeah,
my
she
gosh.
the
was.
band was just, the music was just phenomenal.
The music, the creativity, the lyrics, everything. It was just
The two
amazing.
rabbis, the
Yeah,
two
there was a
rabbis.
rabbi there. The couple rabbis did a good job.
Oh, it
It
was
was great.
terrific the way they
I liked the way the synergy between the two rabbis were very
absolutely.
good.
Hmm.
It was all wonderful, and I just thank everybody who's part of CSK for letting me back into that family and that creativity. I thank you all for all that you have given to that CSK concept. It
Yeah.
was just amazing for me. I can't say enough.
Holly,
What
sign her
was
up for something. She's
She signed up. She's up.
Sign me up for something. I mean, I'll donate, I'll work, I'll help. Sign me up for something.
You got
Debbie.
it.
Okay.
Hi, Susan.
Hey, there you are, Jay.
I don't see Susan.
good to
Oh, there
see
you
you.
are.
I'm here, more or
These are
less,
my new
in a tiny
fidgets.
little.
See my new
What?
fidgets? This
No,
is
I
when
don't.
I get stressed out. They're little
Oh,
magnets.
That's cute.
Whoops.
Little magnets who sometimes drop.
They
Yeah,
sometimes drop and they
just
just
don't go to a scrap metal company or a yard. You'll be like, you know,
I
connecting the
can't
dots.
imagine you get stressed out, Holly.
really?
Yeah. Yeah, I can.
I want to just echo Carol. I only Zoomed. I wasn't able to be there in person, and it went off so well. The whole the whole thing, and of course, most remembering yesterday during the day. So I love Rabbi Scott and Rabbi Laura together. There is
Oh,
Yeah.
something like better than better than twice as good when they're together. I think I don't know. It's just and Rabbi Laura's Devar Torah
yes.
on
Oh my
the
God. Like
Haftarah. I thought
nothing.
that was
Nothing
a
I've ever heard.
wonderful. And Holly, I just want to thank you. I know how much you are part of how and why. I mean that the sound was good. People, I mean, just as someone, listening virtually, it really went well. Just
Yeah.
I think whatever wrinkles were needing to be ironed out, y'all did it. So
I like
bravo.
the multiple camera.
There were no wrinkles. What are you talking about? Wrinkles?
There have been wrinkles that were ironed out in time for this wonderful, wonderful.
These
It
are
was
the
great,
wrinkles.
Rabbi.
Wait,
We all got the wrinkles, but yeah, it was really, really, really meaningful, and so appreciate that.
I'm sure. Were you bald before the holidays? I mean, I just
I
came
had
back.
plenty of hair until I met Natalie.
Yeah.
I don't know what went on behind the scenes. I just came on board, but I've never, ever been so moved, so inspired, and I've never been able to reach down and come up with so much inspiration and so much repairing.
Thank you.
Never.
And you know what?
Janet. Hi,
It
Janet.
hasn't even been 24 hours. It's just barely been 24 hours since we finished. And here we are. Here we go. It's Shabbat. I am so Kelly, Nico. It's Shabbat.
What?
So just when you
What?
thought
What?
that Nico Gio is already talented with all of his back stage stuff, he's been helping us with setup and everything else. Here he is on guitar. We're really happy to welcome him. Nico's a senior at Emory Weiner, and he's one of Kelly Dean's star students. And we are so happy to welcome him to the fourth floor. The fourth floor is going to become like the name of like a cool dive, right? Where did you start? The fourth floor.
Quad.
The quad. There you go. All right. Well, we are going to begin this evening with something. What are we starting with? Shir Chadash. Shir Chadash is in the supplement as well. So you may want to sing along. Let's breathe for a second. Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz. Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash. Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz. Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash. Sing unto God all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along. All the earth a new song unto God. Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz. Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash. I will sing a new song unto God. Hang on just a second. You can play. I just had it right here. Where was it? But here it is. I love this piece, partially because I don't totally understand it, but I find it moving. Yeah, you can play. That's nice. I like a little soundtrack. Yeah. This is called Soul Dialogue number 5. Master of the Universe. I am alone with my shoes, and still I cannot move. One step and the world would cease to exist. Let me know in some abstract, non-abstract way, in my deepest being, my soul, that it is safe. Let me be wise myself. Trust wisdom. Let us be wise together. Let my soul speak freely to my heart. Let my mind take a vacation now and again. Vacate the space so my soul might take up residence. I am carrying my soul with me wherever I go. A head, a field, a small house, a mountain. I unpack my bag, take out a sandwich, and make tea. I reach in, I pull up my soul. It is a mouth now, a quill, a stick, a light, an inner shining. It has taken the shape of prayers. I am speaking to you from you, the same voice. Save me, my soul. Pick me up and lay me down carefully. This piece I introduced last week. It's called Meli Benu, and it's from my camp days. And it means, from our hearts we sing. And then there's a quote, which is from the Torah. It says, Uvacharta b'chaim. God says, I place before you blessing and curse, life and death. Choose life so that you may live. The words are on the supplement. מליבנו אנחנו שרים, מליבנו אנחנו שרים. ובחרת בחיים, ובחרת בחיים, חיים. מליבנו אנחנו שרים, מליבנו אנחנו שרים. ובחרת בחיים, ובחרת בחיים, חיים, ובחרת בחיים, ובחרת בחיים, למען תחיה וזכור, כי בזכירה סוד גאולה, סוד גאולה מליבנו, בליבנו אנחנו שרים, בליבנו אנחנו שרים, ובחרת בחיים, ובחרת בחיים, חיים, ובחרת בחיים, ובחרת בחיים, למען תחיה וזכור, כי בזכירה סוד גאולה, סוד גאולה מליבנו, מליבנו אנחנו שרים, מליבנו אנחנו שרים, ובחרת בחיים, ובחרת בחיים, חיים. That's okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher tzov mitzvotav v'chivanu hadlik ner shel Shabbat. We continue with the Chat Dodi. Page 4. לך לך דודי, לקראת לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לך לך דודי, לקראת לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה, לה 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 לה. לך דודי, לקראת לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לך לך דודי, לקראת לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, ושם תפארת ולקטילה, לה 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 לה. לך דודי, לקראת לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לך לך דודי, לקראת לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור אוהבך מראש מקדם נסוך, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה, לה 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 לה. לך דודי, לקראת לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לך לך דודי, לקראת לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. בריא ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה וצולה, תוך אמוני ים סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לה 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 לה. לך דודי, לקראת לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לך לך דודי, לקראת לקראת קלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. Let's breathe some more. You know, it's only the 11th of Tishrei, which means only 11 days of the new Jewish year, 5782, have come and gone. Well, we're in the 11th day still. We are, well, I guess we're going to be entering the 12th day once the sun sets, which means it's not yet Shabbat, but that's okay. It's Shabbat for us. We still have so much more of the year to get it right. And I really believe that at the end of the day, after everything that we taught and discussed and shared and sang, all of the shivers up and down our spines that we got when Hannah hit those notes, it all comes back down to breathing. Because if we breathe in a focused way before we act, especially before we respond, think about how much less we would have to be sorry for. Man, if we did that, Yom Kippur could be done in like an hour. Baruch Hu. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la la la. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la la la. La 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 la. Barechu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam vaed. Leolam vaed. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la la la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. instead of chanting Ve'ahavta tonight, I invite you to look at it if you have the prayer book. It's on page 10. Or, you probably know it pretty well. If I was with you in person, I would be able to take, responses, but I'm going to ask questions and they're going to they're by definition, they're going to be rhetorical. But I want you to think about them. I believe that the Ve'ahavta is divided into 3 parts. There's part 1, which is the you shall love part. The you shall love God with all your heart, your soul, and your might. And I call that the what. Then there's the next part, right, which talks about and that you shall have these things upon your heart, and that you shall teach them to your children, and that you shall bind them as a sign upon your hand and a symbol before your eyes, which I know is generally understood as tefillin, the phylacteries, the black leather straps with the boxes that have the prayers inside of them. But I also think that there's something to be said for how do we exercise our Judaism with our hands and our eyes. And it tells us about how we should do these things, live this way as we walk along the way, when we get up, when we go to sleep, etc. So this next part is what I call the how. Because the truth is, all of us know that it's not enough to declare love. You can't talk about how you believe in something or you love something. I mean, you can. But it falls short if your actions don't follow through. You don't put your money where your mouth is. So that's the how. And then the next part is the third part, the lema'am tiskuru. This is to remind you, this is God saying, this is to remind you that I brought you out of the land of Egypt. So this I call the why part. The what part is the you shall love God. The how part is all the ways in which we live this. And the why is from this sort of, I brought you out of Egypt, but you can find yourself back there. That when we don't follow through on the things that we say we love, or in this case, the people we say we love, it's easier to fall back into the narrow places, into Mitzrayim, into the narrow places of yesterday, of what we don't want again. So one strategy for carrying your insights, resolutions, new awarenesses, whatever may have come through the High Holy Days, is to ask yourself, all right, well, what does this indicate about me? What do I love or what I believe in? And then literally make a list of, here's how I prove this. Not to somebody else, just to me. And then the why brings us to the idea of, and what does my life look like if I don't? If I lose these things, or if I don't act like these things matter? That for me is the Ve'ahavta. And it's like a strategy for how to carry forward promises to ourselves, revelations, discoveries, new directions, whatever it is. It's one way of setting forth this plan. At this time, I'd like to, that was Ve'ahavta, so we've talked about it. I'd like to invite any simchas, if there are. Holly can holler them out if they're in the chat, but I invite you just to unmute yourself if you would like, and you can share them, any of them. Anyone? Okay, I'll start. Here's my simcha, 2 simchas. One is, well, actually, they're 2 versions of the same. Both my sons chose to join us online for the High Holy Days. And even better, both of them did it with friends. They invited friends over to their place to watch. Sammy sent us a picture of him and 9 other fraternity brothers in his room watching our services the whole time. Well, Kol Nidre, not, but then he went to Hillel the next day. But I thought, That's so cool. Like that is a blessing of living in this time. That we've been able to create a broadcast that our family members from who aren't in Houston, who can still participate and want to. That's my blessing.
Terry Sachs was in Stockholm watching us.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Anyone else? Miss Simchas?
Carol?
Yes, Carol.
My daughter, out of the blue, watched us on Kol Nidre, and it was out of the blue. And she sent me a text, and I couldn't be happier. I was blown away by Kol Nidre because the traditional way is 3 times. It was sung so beautifully one time, and then we got an opportunity to sit and listen and create the other times. I've never had an experience like that in my life. And it was magical to have it done that way. And my daughter, out of the blue, got to share that experience.
Oh, that's neat. Thank
That's
you.
a simcha.
I had
Yes.
a rabbi who gave a sermon before Kol Nidre. That was cool.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. All right. Well, mi chamocha. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi kamocha ba'kodesh. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh. Nora tehilot Hosea Pele. Nora tehilot Hosea Pele. Adonai yimloch le'olam ba'ed. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh. Nora tehilot Osei Pele. Nora tehilot Osei Pele. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Let's sing Hashkivenu. Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamideinu malkeinu lechayim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us with wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamideinu malkeinu lechayim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us with wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, hamideinu malkeinu לחיים, לחיים, לחיים. By the way, did everybody catch that? I was thinking it was a different Hashkivenu. I had it in my head, and it was Kelly who was like, Hashkivenu. You got your Hebrew on, man. Well, you know, a couple weeks ago, Kelly said to me, what's the difference between Hashivenu and Hashkivenu? And I said, everything. You know, but I love the fact that he even knows it. By the way, Hashivenu is about us turning, actually God turning towards us. Hashkivenu is God helping us sleep. So it's all in that k. The details of beauty. Remember the details of beauty with your eyes. The autumn leaf, a baby's cry, small wonders remind you of joy and wonder. Remember the details of love. With your breath, a soft smile, a gentle hand, small wonders to remind you of awe and majesty. Remember the details of faith with your pulse, the quiet prayer, the hymn of glory, small wonders to remind you of devotion and service. God of old, the details of beauty surround us. Love and faith are our inheritance. Teach us to see clearly in each day the small wonders you set before us, to take them in, to feel their power, and to rejoice. Adonai, Sfatai tiftach. Na 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 na, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Na 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 Adonai. Na 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 sfatai tiftach. Na 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 ufi yagid tehilatecha. Hanananananana Adonai. Hananananana sfatai tiftach. Hananananana Ofi yagid tehila techa. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevii Geula Livnei V'neihem, L'man Shemo Be'ahava. Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh Kol Atah, Rav Lehoshia. Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye Yaakov Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Berofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar, Micha Mocha Bal Gevurot, Umidom Melach, Melech Memit Umechaye Umatzmiach Yeshua V'ne'eman atah l'chayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai Mechaye hakol Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh U'kdoshim b'chol yom yalucha selah Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. If you're standing, please be seated. And before we move into the next part of our service, Misha Berach, I want to give you an advanced organizer because I decided that since I spoke a lot during the High Holy Days and you very kindly listened, well, at least of those of you who are at Emory, I mean, those of you who are watching online, you might have turned me down. I don't know. But I think you probably listened. And I think, well, I know, I want to hear from you. So at the sermon time, you're giving the sermon. Now, what I mean by that is, I want you to prepare, don't write it in the chat yet, but I want you to think about what were for you one or two brief but important revelations, discoveries, something you learned, something you grew from, something that you want to take into the new year. I ask you to think about that as we continue, because I'm going to invite you. So if you don't have an answer, sorry, there's no sermon. All right, here we go. We continue with Misha Berach. At this time, we take our focus of our prayers and we consider those in our lives who are in need of healing and wholeness. I very much invite you to write the names into our chat, people who you are thinking of, who you hope and pray that they will return to themselves and step forward into the new year with strength. Page 23. Mi shebeirach avoteinu mekor habracha leimoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Mi shebeirach avoteinu mekol habracha leimoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. I am opening the announcements that Holly sent me. Here we go. So I have a really, really exciting announcement. And it's not just because these two individuals will be with us again next week. But we are celebrating Sukkot and Simchat Torah next Friday, a week from tonight. And we are doing it in the Arbor, in the Emery Weiner Quad, outdoors. The weather looks like it's going to be beautiful. And guess what? They already have, or they will already have, a sukkah. It'll already be built, and we will be outdoors, and we are going to celebrate with the Torahs, not exactly the way we have in the past, but we're still going to be able to parade around with the Torahs, and we're going to celebrate together. We are asking you to please join us. Come at 6. It's not an oneg like we've done in the past. It's bring your own picnic or pick up a bucket of chicken, whatever works for you. But come, eat outdoors. There's plenty of room. There's plenty of tables and chairs. You can sit at a distanced space, and then we can gather together in the amphitheater for services where the sukkah is, and it's going to be awesome. So please join us next Friday at Emery Weiner, outdoors. The way you want to enter is the middle school side, which means you're going to go down like you normally do, park behind where you normally do. I mean, don't park there, but keep going around the horseshoe to the other side to where the soccer fields are. And that is where you'll enter from. We'll give directions, etc. But please join us next Friday. BYOO. Bring your own oneg. Exactly. And very cool. Next Saturday morning, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. No, is it 2 weeks? Saturday, October 2nd. 3 weeks, I think. No, it's 2 weeks. Saturday, October 2nd at 9 a.m. We are going to have a team from Shema Kulenu to participate in the Women's March. This is in favor and support of women's reproductive rights. Join women from all over the country. It'll begin at Discovery Green. Andy Kupferberg is organizing the CSK group. You can contact Holly for more information. But we are excited to, as Heschel is said to have said, we will let our feet do the praying. So now that I've given you some time, I'd love to know, what did you learn? What would you like to share with us? I'm looking at the chat to see if anybody has.
Oh.
Anybody?
Carol, go ahead.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
Go. That's fine.
I didn't put it in the chat.
That's okay.
Okay, so I'm just returning. And as I've said and said and said all week, I guess it's only been 24 hours. For me, it was life-changing. And one of the biggest things was when we did the meditation piece. And she guided us through. I'm a big meditator. I've meditated my whole life. But she said, when you're thinking about a situation or somebody out there, and I'm working on a really tough situation, it really comes down to you are really repairing something in here, in you. And that was a total reframe for me on a big situation that I'm working on and that I'm trying to get myself centered in a home, in a place here in Houston. Coming back to Shema Kolenu seemed to be the centering for me. And I don't know a lot of people, but I never felt alone. The healing service, the concept when Laura made her sermon about there's nothing stronger to build back than a broken heart. I mean, it all just came back to being, how do you repair yourself? And for all the years of Yom Kippur's, the gates are closing, get your sins, go tell someone how sorry. It's always been the same thing about go apologize, the gates are closing. This was all about how you repair yourself internally and how you do that work. And for me, with the music, Kelly, the clarinet, it was life changing. And I'm so proud that I can be part of a synagogue that has the creative space and whatever to provide a Yom Kippur and a Rosh Hashanah that is so enriched by following the traditions and the music and the sound, but letting ourselves hear and open to what it could mean for us. And I'm just elated and grateful.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you. I want to read some of the chats that came through. Nanette loves the prayer book. I'm so glad. I am so glad. Susan Nerlove wrote, "A broken heart is a whole heart." Yeah, it was interesting. Rabbi Scheinkoff and I started working on preparing for the High Holy Days back, I think we had our first meeting in like late July. And what was so interesting was how she and I, as we talked more, so much of what I ended up writing in the healing service and what she wrote, we were sort of parallel in how we really, so one of the inspiring pieces about why I knew what I wanted to do with the healing service was that I knew that the warm blanket had its place, but it felt to me like it was too promising of healing, too sort of like, if you do this, this, and this, then you'll have healing. And I don't mean exactly like that, but what I wrap my hand around and my mind around was this idea that maybe promising healing or even hoping for healing isn't enough. And I'm really glad that Carol articulated it the way she did, that it's really about us figuring out how to do repair for ourselves and for others. And that was really the effort. So thank you. I'm so glad to hear that came through. Gail wrote, "Writing on what I can bring, the gift of myself to the world." That's just such a beautiful idea. I mean, I love the idea that years ago I gave a sermon where I talked about the incredibly minute chance of being born, period, as in our particular formation. It's such a rare chance that the chances are, like some crazy number, one in some crazy number, that it really begs the assumption that there's something specific and unique about every human being, that each of us has a gift to bring that no one else in the world can bring. It doesn't make us better than anybody else. It makes us as good as everyone else. And that so much of the shame, the guilt, and all that kind of stuff gets in the way of realizing that we have something so special and unique to give. I love what Richard wrote here, thinking about the 13 attributes of God, first trying to be godlike, and then focusing on applying one of the remaining 12 attributes of God each month. It's a new kind of 12-step program. But it's really, that's a really powerful idea. Thank you. Nanette wrote, "The rabbis are taught to comfort those that are troubled and trouble the ones who are comforted." You like that? You like that, Nanette? Okay, good. I'm glad. The story Rabbi Laura told about 9/11 and her son was so moving, and how we move on from a broken heart and choose life and thus repair ourselves and the world. That's it. That's it. Janet, right there. Like, you just summed up the whole point. It's really beautiful. Thank you. Please forgive us, God, for what we might do in the future, right? This idea that we start the year already knowing we're going to mess up. It's just the way, it's our nature. Yeah, thank you, Nanette. Janet, because we're not perfect and we'll make mistakes in the future. You were right on with your choice of thematic focus. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Susan. Anyone else want to share anything verbally?
Well, I came home. I mean, I was home, but I came from services and into my kitchen at 9:45 last night. And my mother looked at me and she said, "Why don't you kiss me anymore? Why don't you show me affection?" And it's been since COVID that I have not touched her, that I have felt like I was going to infect her and hurt her. And we had this moment that was just amazing. We hugged and we kissed and we loved and we wished each other a happy new year. And it was just a move, just a wow moment.
Thank you, Holly. Susan, were you going to say something?
Just that I think the reason the choice to focus on repair and just your choice of themes and how you were able to convey them was really important as we enter this second year of a very different type. Just the high holy days are just different. And even though some people were there in person, it's still not, what we were thinking last year, like this, we'll look back on this, it'll be like this once in a lifetime thing, and it's all going to be like, okay, by next year. And it's just not. And so, right. Holly, what you said is resonating with me too. Like, we're just not back to normal. And so how do we shepherd ourselves and each other through something that really doesn't have a definite end in sight, right? So it was very comforting, the whole choice of focus, and I don't remember every single detail, just that, it really spoke to these times that we're still in. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I love how the High Holy Days, I love how Jewish liturgy and tradition, it reminds me, Kelly, of our first year. I gave a sermon on Judaism and improvisation. CSK had just begun, and Kelly did this awesome, it was before we knew Daphne and before we sort of decided we wanted to stick with a more traditional, the cello and the piano. Kelly did a Kol Nidre, the Bruch Kol Nidre that we hear on cello and piano. He played on sax. Some of you may have been there for that. And it really just sticks in my mind so much. It was the thing about Judaism. And the reason why it survived, the reason why we're still here, is because it's an improvisational tradition. I know some will say it's because we stick with the tradition and you can't change anything, and that's why we still us. But I don't think that's the case. And if you look at really any aspect of Judaism, Judaism has fundamentally changed in every aspect. Judaism of 2,000 years ago looks nothing. It wasn't even called Judaism. It looks nothing like what Judaism looks like today. And it's precisely that moldability that's wrapped around that concept that I try to get across with my sermon on Rosh Hashanah morning about monotheism. Monotheism isn't just about there being one God. It's really about the discovery of God in the world. That discovery of God and that oneness in each of us is the through line in Judaism. It both magnifies God, but also humbles our notion of God. It magnifies God because the idea is, as I described, God for me is that light that shines, and then creation is the prism through which creation happens. And monotheism's purpose is to remind us to look back at the prism and remember that we came from the same place, the same source. But at the same time, to celebrate the differences, the uniquenesses, the variety. So that for me is the through line through Judaism, both recognizing, wow, there's nothing bigger than God, and we can find that bigness in each person. And that's the purpose, that's the plan, that's why we are here. So for me, of course, we develop and we change and we grow different ways and different ways of understanding how to express that. And that's that moldability, that improvisationality of Judaism, which makes certainly what's the lifeblood of CSK. So thank you all for being on board.
I think you missed Janet's remarks. Did you read that?
I think I did. Janet Beck?
Uh-huh.
I think I did.
Okay.
Yeah, you did, Rabbi.
Okay.
Okay.
Let us continue with Aleinu. Thank you very much. You gave great sermons. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כבלי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר היה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו echad. At this time in our service, we invite you to call to mind those who are lost to you, who are no longer living, whose memory remains for you as a blessing. I invite you to write those names into our chat as together we offer Kaddish. Page 26. Yitkadal v'yikadash shemei Rabba, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon v'yamechon v'chay l'chol Beit Yisrael, b'agalat u'zman kariv v'imru amen. יהא שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולמי עלמיה. יפרח וישתבח ויפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירם בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהא שלום רבה מן שמיא, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. May the one who makes peace in the high places make peace upon us, upon all Israel, all the world, and let us say, Amen. And we conclude with those say Shalom. Oh, say Shalom bimromav, Hu yaseh Shalom aleinu. ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Oh, say shalom bimromav. הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו amen. Shabbat shalom. Kelly, Nico, thank you guys so very much. So appreciate your help. You're awesome. Wonderful. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
You are awesome
Shalom.
and wonderful too, Rabbi.
Oh, I forgot the Kiddush. Motzi, hello.
Kelly Dean, you are amazing.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
love the music. Rabbi, you're awesome.
Thank you.
You are.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari ha'shachet.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishem mitzvotav v'ratav ad kodsho ve'ahava uvratzon inchilanu Reshit ki hu yom tehillah ve'mikra
Surprise, our favorite person here.
Hayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim abad kodshecha ve'ahava uvratzon inchanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashavat.
L'chaim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Does everybody see Michigan? Did everybody see Michigan?
No, where?
Look down right here.
Put the file a little lower and we'll see more of
Right
this
here.
again.
I want to know when is he going to have his bar mitzvah?
Oh, she's gonna have a bat mitzvah.
Oh, I see. But it's a bar. Little bar mitzvah.
Shabbat shalom.